Hey everybody, my name is Dr. Scott Giacomucci. I'm a trauma therapist and educator, and wanted to take a little bit of time to outline some of the differences between an emotional support animal, a therapy dog, and a service dog. In that I feel like these terms get used interchangeably and there's a lot of confusion about what's what. And I hear this all the time from my clients. So I thought this would be an important video to make to provide some education on the unique differences between these three types of supports. So as I'm making this video, you can hear my dog barking upstairs. And one of the reasons why I was interested in the differences between an emotional support animal, therapy dog, and service dog is because I had gotten my dog, whose name is Azul, and we got him with the hopes of training him to become a therapy dog. And so I really had to educate myself on the differences between an emotional support animal and a therapy dog and a service dog. And I learned a lot in the process. So an emotional support animal is an animal, usually a dog, but it doesn't have to be, that's primarily there to support an individual with their mental health issues. And so usually this is simply somebody's pet and the individual recognizes that they find emotional support in their pet. Perhaps we all do to some degree. And in order to get almost like a recognition as an emotional support animal, the only thing that is really required is a letter from a mental health professional. So the standards in the bar are pretty low for emotional support animals. Pretty easy to get a letter from a mental health professional that names your dog as an emotional support animal. And this might, in terms of legal rights, require your landlord to allow you to have your dog in your apartment under the Fair Housing Act. So an emotional support animal is not granted public access rights in the same way that a service dog is, for example. So basically, the emotional support animal is meant to be a private support that you use in the comfort of your home and in private places, but not an animal that you're granted permission to take everywhere you go in public spaces. In the kind of hierarchy of requirements and training and costs and time and permissions among these three statuses, the emotional support animal is the easiest to obtain and has the lowest threshold for training and regulations and requirements. The therapy dog is the next level, which does require some training, and there's varying levels of certifications that are quite intensive and can require dozens and dozens, even hundreds of hours of experience for the therapy dog. And then the service dog is really the highest level in that it usually is quite expensive and requires extensive specialized training in order for the dog to become a service dog. The service dog is highly trained, highly effective, highly consistent, whereas an emotional support animal might not have any training. It's just a pet that the individual feels emotionally supported by. So in terms of a therapy dog is uniquely different than emotional support animal in that the therapy dog is trained not to provide emotional support for its owner, but to provide emotional support for others. So the purpose of having a therapy dog is really the therapeutic benefits that it could offer in different settings, like in a hospital setting, or in a school, or a treatment center, or a outpatient therapy center, or nursing home. So therapy dogs are really trained to be safe around humans, to be calm and comforting in various environments, and to be friendly with strangers. As a therapy dog, you're taking into a hospital or into a different environment, and they're constantly interacting with strangers. They're offering support, emotional support, to strangers or patients or others who are under stress or struggling. So therapy dogs don't seem to have many special legal rights and need to have permission to enter public and private places. However, a service dog is uniquely different than an emotional support animal or a therapy dog in that service dogs are granted public access rights under the ADA, or Americans with Disability Act. And service dogs are highly trained to perform specific tasks related to an individual's disability. So a service dog, in many ways, is an extension of that individual. Maybe somebody who is hard to see or who's blind has a service dog who really becomes their eyes and helps them navigate the world. Or a service dog might be trained to identify symptoms of a specific medical condition and to identify when an individual is experiencing those symptoms and to notify them so that they can take care of their medical disability, or to notify others when that individual is having a medical episode of some sort or at risk of a life-threatening condition. So service dogs are really designed to help individuals with disabilities, and they're highly trained. Usually they're quite expensive to obtain. So again, key differences: emotional support animals versus therapy dogs. An emotional support animal is there to support their owner emotionally and might not require any specialized training, whereas therapy dogs are trained to support and provide comfort to other people, not their owner, in different settings. Some key differences between emotional support animals and a service dog is that emotional support animals do not have public access rights, whereas service dogs do have public access rights through the ADA. Emotional support animals usually don't have specialized training, whereas a service dog has highly specialized training and are trained to complete and engage in very specific tasks related to an individual's disability or medical condition. And the difference between a therapy dog and a service dog is that the therapy dog is trained to provide comfort and support in specific settings, whereas a service dog is there to provide specific tasks for their owner. Therapy dogs do not have broad public access rights, whereas a service dog does have public access rights. So in choosing what's right for you, you really need to assess what your needs are. If your needs are emotional in nature, then you might be looking for an emotional support animal. If your needs are more consistent and, around the clock and related to disabilities, then you might be looking for a service dog. And if you're looking to support other people, then you're probably looking and thinking about a therapy dog rather than an emotional support animal or a service dog. So you really got to consider, what are the needs emotionally, practically, what specific legal rights do you need for this animal? What are the level of training and commitment that we're looking at? Because it's going to differ and really differentiate the differences between an emotional support animal, a therapy dog, and a service dog. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, I'd encourage you to write in the comments what you learned or what you found helpful, and to subscribe to this channel if you wanted to learn more about different aspects of mental health and therapy and treatment.